Welcome back. Hello again. Today we're going to dip our toe, only our toe. No need to take the whole of your sock off if you've got a hole in it. We're going to dip our toe into the world of neoclassicism and neoclassical silver. And we're doing that because I happened to buy a fabulous neoclassical sugar bowl last week. So nothing like a good excuse to talk about something. Here is... I'll give you a moment to gasp, because when I said sugar bowl, you probably weren't expecting something like that, the Wimbledon trophy. If your breath is taken away, that's the correct response. Well done. If it wasn't, go to the back of the class. This is sort of textbook neoclassical English silver. Despite the cataloguing attempt of the auctioneers that I bought it from, this was not made in 1824. Close, lads, close. This was not made in 1824. This was made in 1784. And the telltale sign to that is just look in a book of hallmarks. But even so, and you can see the marks on the base there, the eagle-eyed amongst you that have listened to me waffle on now will know there is an absence of the duty mark, which came in 1784 and went out in 1890. So this is just 1784, just before the duty mark came in of that year. And had it been 1824, it would have had a duty mark on it. So if nothing else, if the fact it didn't scream 1770s neoclassicism at you, which it clearly didn't, the auctioneer, if it didn't scream that at you, you should have noticed that. But never mind. Their loss is my gain, and possibly my customers. Was it ever thus? This is by, most people that know this man's work will already have shouted it. This is by the goldsmith Andrew Fogelberg. And Andrew Fogelberg is of note because he came from Sweden. And this is, whilst it is very much Robert Adam, William Chambers' height of English neoclassicism, it's also very similar to the neoclassical silver you get in Scandinavia. Very restrained decoration. I mean, lots of decoration, funnily enough. We've got cast handles with beautiful calyx leaf, and we've got this Vitruvian scroll. Funnily enough, this Vitruvian scroll with little harebells interspersed at intervals in this beaded border. This was first used by Fogelberg in the design of a teapot and stand, an example of which is in the Victoria and Albert Museum, designed by the architect William Chambers. And if you were wealthy and a member of the aristocracy and you wanted neoclassicism in your buildings, in your interior, in your furniture, in your silver, you would either go to Robert Adam, that great Scottish architect, or the other camp, you would go to Sir William Chambers. Now, interestingly, Sir William Chambers, mustn't forget the Sir, spent part of his early life in Sweden. And it appears that Fogelberg executed many of his designs. So there must be, it can't be just a coincidence that a leading architect that grew up in Sweden for most of his life picks out the only Swedish immigrant silversmith in London in the third quarter of the 18th century. There must be a connection there. I'm not aware of what it is, but there must be one. And this teapot, this fabulous teapot, which is sort of held up as a pinnacle of neoclassical silver design, deploys this border. And that teapot, I think, is about 4 or 5 years earlier than this. So there are two options with this. This is either another design by William Chambers, or and this is possibly more likely, Fogelberg nicked his border and stuck it on his sugar bowl. And why not? It's a lovely border. I'd nick that border too if I had it in stock as a pattern. All of this is cast. What you can't see, but I'm going to put this down for a minute because it's bloody heavy. It's extremely heavy because most of this is cast. The border is cast. These handles are all cast, lost wax casting. And the most notable feature, the thing that makes it Fogelberg, are the use of these medallions. And he loved using neoclassical medallions. It's a very Swedish thing to do, but also his workshop was in Church Street. He was in partnership with a man called Stephen Gilbert, and they were not that far away from the shop of the gem engraver James Tassie, who was a specialist gem engraver and reproduced classical gems, neoclassical gems in glass. And you could go and you could buy a whole set of gems from Tassie. And it's very likely, lots of people think, and who am I to disagree with them, that it was actually Tassie's gems that Fogelberg was copying when he was placing these reserves on his silver. That was his design source. So he was a bit of a magpie, wasn't he? He's got Sir William Chambers' border and James Tassie's medallions, but the effect is amazing. And if I tell you that, you know, most Georgian sugar bowls weigh 5 ounces, 6 ounces on a good day of this period, this weighs nearly 15. It is a leviathan of sugar bowls. In fact, and I actually don't blame the auctioneer for this, it was described as a two-handled cup because it's so big. But honestly, it is a sugar bowl, and it's got the original fight. It's got a lovely crest up there, which is for Tatum. Would be nice if we knew exactly which Tatum, but there are a lot of them. So that is a peerless example of English neoclassical silver, all hand raised. The body's all hand raised. All the elements are cast and finished. And remember, with casting, okay, you're casting it, you're not meticulously engraving it or chasing it, but all of this has to be, when it's being cast, it all has to be gone over. It all has to be burnished and chased to get the definition. So there's a huge amount of work in that, and it's a very rare thing. And you will find pieces by Fogelberg, who, although he made largely domestic silver, didn't make anything really stunningly monumental, but it's all to the latest fashion. It's all to the very best taste. You know, if you were fashionable, you possibly had your tea set in, you know, the latest Wedgwood Queensware. But if you were really wealthy, you'd have those similar designs executed in solid silver by someone like Fogelberg, as Tatum clearly did. So there you go. That's a magnificent bit, one little bit of English neoclassical. What's wrong with me? Dear, I swallowed a plum. Neoclassical. From Birmingham I am, our side classical, or outside classical. Neoclassical silver of the very best quality. And I was very lucky to find it, I can tell you. I'm very lucky that only one person bid against me. He's now in intensive care. No, he isn't. I couldn't chase after him. That's the disadvantage these days of being older and bigger. I can't catch them when they bid against me. They get into the car and they drive off too quickly. Hope you've enjoyed. Yeah, I know I can chase them in my car, but then the police get involved. That's one fabulous bit of silver. I was very lucky to find this. I haven't owned a piece by Fogelberg before. And this is if you've never owned a piece by Fogelberg, believe me, this is a very good piece to own. You get a workout just picking it up, I promise you. More stuff next week, but for now, a little glimpse a glimpse at English neoclassical silver. And I hope you've enjoyed it. So good hunting and goodbye.